Tonight, an outraged mother continues to demand answers regarding her slain son. The National Security Minister says police are doing what they must. Independent Senator Adrian Oje urges the government not to extend the state of emergency, warning that it is against the will of the people. And Senator Mauricia Thomas Francis questions whether opening our borders to the U.S. is worth the risk at this time. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 28th of May, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow Channel 117, on Kiss FM, on our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and on our Facebook page. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. After 1 year since the death of Arnold Joseph, his family is outraged that they still have no answers or updates on the investigation into his killing. Ahead of the sitting of Senate, Minister for National Security, Senator Hermangild Francis was questioned on the matter and indicated that the investigation is ongoing. Genevieve Gonzague begins our reporting.
The mother of Arnold Joseph, a 17-year-old that was shot dead by police on May 22, 2019, has expressed dissatisfaction with the level of progress with the case. The disgruntled mother has expressed that she has been trying her best to hold it together. However, not being kept in the loop about the investigation is added trauma.
It's a shame. It's very shameful that my 17-year-old son got shot by the hands of police. It's been 1 year and 5 days, and you telling me that is all? You had a team out there on the 22nd of May 2019 that went out there and did whatever they did. They got a call, they get a suspicious call. You guys cannot even say, okay, y'all got a suspicious call by Tom, Dick, and Harry. Y'all cannot say, okay, we have 6 officers we are investigating at this moment. Okay, they are suspended. They are this. Nothing whatsoever.
According to the police, the Entrepot Secondary School student and 2 other males were traveling in a suspicious vehicle in Castries, which failed to stop when ordered to do so. The law enforcement officers said during an attempt to apprehend the individuals, 1 person was fatally shot, a second was injured, and a third uninjured male was arrested. Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Wayne Shalry told reporters Tuesday that police were not ready to give an update regarding the investigation into Arnold Joseph's death. On Thursday 28th, Minister for National Security Hermangild Francis was pressed on the issue. He stated that the investigative officers on the case are carrying out their duties.
I did speak to some of the investigators that the firearm has been tested, and we're looking forward to dealing with that case as soon as possible.
Francis indicated that investigations into the matter will continue into all claims made as a result of this case. The mother of the deceased says she and her family will go to all lengths to ensure justice prevails. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Independent Senator Adrian Oje has passionately urged the government not to extend the state of emergency. He highlighted that the mood on the ground is one of mounting frustration and that the will of the people is not behind the government on this move.
Independent Senator Adrian Oje was very candid with the government when he rose to make his presentation in the Senate on Thursday. He strongly opposed the extension of the state of emergency by 4 months until the 30th of September. Furthermore, he highlighted that 5 senators expressed deep discomfort with the matter of extending the state of emergency. He called on the government to take heed.
And I would like to make an appeal passionately to the government side not to extend the state of emergency. Not because it is something that you think people are against, but because it is not good for the current state of the country. I want to make an impassioned plea. For once, heed the voices of the 5 people on this side of the sides of the table who have not, I assure you, coordinated their statements in any way to embarrass anybody, and who are passionately bringing you news from the field, from the street, from the hills, from the valleys, that this is not a good move.
The senator warned that the flames of internal dissension have been stoked and that people are growing increasingly frustrated. He agreed with sentiments by Independent Senator Mauricio Thomas Francis that said that the mood on the ground is palpable.
I too received a video that so chastised the Prime Minister, his family, his wife. I don't want to go into the details. It is the most distasteful thing that I have seen in a long time. I do not believe that it is reflective of how St. Lucians wish to express themselves, but I think it is reflective of a mounting frustration which is being brought about by confinement, by uncertainty, by lack of employment, by desperation about money and jobs and welfare and children and school and laptops and all the rest of it. So whether or not you agree with the person expressing, I would like to suggest that you see it as a symptom of what is happening on the ground. And this is not a message from Cap Estate or Rodney Bay. This is a message from Sarot and Marigot and Font-les-Grands, etc., etc.
Auger argued that the rationale presented for the extension of the state of emergency is illogical and inconsistent with other pronouncements by the government.
It is my submission to this Honorable House that that necessity has not been sufficiently proven. And therefore, I disagree with the summation that it is necessary to extend to September the state of emergency in this country. It is at odds with what we are being told both by government representatives and by medical professionals who seem to have taken us through this crisis with much applause and professionalism, and we have stood in this house and we have applauded them. And it warmed the hearts of St. Lucians to see us united, I think, in our support of these people. And it has been said over and over again how the frontline staff have been so admirable. Let us please not besmirch the progress that has been achieved with this motion. I am appealing to you passionately. It is not too late. We do not have to go through with this. 5 people in the room have stood and told you it is a bad idea.
He urged the administration not to exacerbate the current discord and discomfort currently being felt by citizens on the ground. He says the fact is the necessity of the extension of the state of emergency was not proven by the administration during Parliament.
Minister for Health, Senator Mary Isaac, is adamant that the extension of the state of emergency is absolutely necessary, as it will allow for flexibility in the government's reaction and response to any situation possibly presented by the reopening of the island's borders. On the other hand, Senator Mauricio Thomas Francis says she is concerned about the length of the extension.
Even after being presented with 15 reasons for the request to extend the state of emergency in St. Lucia by the government, many members of the public are still inquiring as to why one is needed. On Thursday, Minister for Health, Senator Mary Isaac, explained that the extension would simply arm the government with the power and flexibility to act unilaterally without hindrances if the need arises during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic.
The current state of emergency is a necessity. The recommendation came out of the team that is making recommendations to government in terms of what needs to be put in place to combat this whole virus situation. We know how contagious this virus is, and that is the problem. It is not that we cannot treat it, but if it were to just be allowed to let loose among our population, we do not know that we would be able to contain it. So we have to take every precaution to ensure that if there is a need for us to move quickly, we will not be hindered by any law or any legislation or any type of restriction whatsoever. This is more for a health reason than for anything else.
Isaac states that fears concerning borders being reopened to places where there have been a resurgence of COVID-19 cases are understood, but this is the exact reason why an extension of the state of emergency is needed. On the other hand, Senator Mauricia Thomas Francis stated her main concern is with how the time slots for the extension seem to fluctuate.
This is the third time we are going into Parliament to debate and discuss the state of emergency. As you would recall or you would be aware, when we had active cases in the country, we extended the state of emergency by a little less than a month. Today we are going to be debating an extension of 4 months. My discomfort is around the inconsistency. Why 1 month or less when we had one case? And now we've done a phenomenal job as a country in terms of clearing all the cases, and we now require 4 months. More critically, we are opening up the country on the 4th of June. So I don't understand the inconsistency.
Senator Isaac says the economic fallout that COVID-19 has caused must be kept in sharp focus, and while the island cannot remain closed forever, the state of emergency will ensure that all bases are covered if community spread of the virus should surge. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
Is the economic reward of opening up St. Lucia's borders to the U.S. worth the health risk to our population? Independent Senator Mauricia Thomas Francis says while she understands the desperation and urge to get back to some sense of normalcy, she says there needs to be a tempered approach. She pointed to comments by CARICOM Chair Mia Mottley, who said that the region would not be driven by a date to reopen to tourists, and questions St. Lucia's posture.
There are persons who are anxious, and quite rightly so, like I said, Madam President. They are anxious to open their businesses. They are anxious to get back to work. They are anxious to generate revenue to sustain their businesses and to get life reasonably back to normal. But the critical question is, Madam, is the reward worth the risk?
Opening our borders to international travel from the United States of America is a move that has sparked deep division with compelling arguments on both sides. Independent Senator Mauricia Thomas Francis says she appreciates both sides of the argument: the risk of importing cases of COVID-19 from the U.S. epicenter, and the need to generate greater economic activity by resuscitating the mainstay of the economy, tourism. Her question was clear in the Senate on Thursday: is the economic reward worth the health risk?
We are opening up to invite mainly American citizens. Based on news that are coming forth, 40 million Americans are unemployed. Visitors' ability to travel and to spend and to make it worth our while would be a function of their income capacity. Are we sure that, or comfortable that there is enough income capacity in that source market to help us generate the revenue that we're looking to generate, such that one can say perhaps it is worth the risk?
The independent senator also questioned why St. Lucia does not seem to be in sync with the chair of CARICOM, Mia Mottley, who stated in a recent interview that countries of the region will not rush to reopen borders to accommodate tourists.
We're not going to be driven by a date. We're going to be driven by protocols that make us safe, because we want to remain safe for our people. We want to remain safe for people who are visiting us. And this is not only Barbados' position, but a number of countries within the Caribbean community.
Francis questions St. Lucia's approach.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley spoke eloquently to the BBC when she was asked the question, when is the region going to be opening to receive tourists? And she was speaking not just as the Prime Minister of Barbados, she was also speaking in her capacity as head of CARICOM. And she stated, and quite rightly so, that she is not going to be driven by a date. She's not going to be driven by a date, but will ensure that opening will happen when there is safety for the citizens, safety for the workers, and safety for the visitors. And that's the right position, Madam President. But what is mind-boggling, if we are part of CARICOM, why is it as a country we are taking a position which is contrary to what the leader of CARICOM is saying in terms of the region? Why is it so?
The senator also pointed out that other source markets like Canada and the UK still have their borders closed, even to the US. The capacity of people to travel and spend, she says, is significantly and negatively impacted.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, Ancillary Cannery's MP Dominic Fady says the much talked about audio recording of him is much ado about nothing. Regional forecasters say the Caribbean can expect some relief from drought, but heat discomfort will increase towards August. And Senator Gideon Ferdinand speaks ahead of the reopening of schools for grade 6 and Form 5 students, urging the Ministry of Education to tie up loose ends. That and more after the break.